Welcome to Aggressive Life and welcome to the garage. Here during July in the Aggressive Life, we're going to look into some of the things that have been important to me, specifically a Jeep, a 1978 Jeep CJ7. It took me 3 years to restore it and finish it. There's quite a story behind the thing, and we'll get into that in the midst of these episodes. People would ask me about what's the deal with the Jeep? What are you learning with it? And I did a number of things that were entitled Garage Bible Study. We're going to run 5 different projects that I did where I have my hands on every single bolt, every single gear in the entire Jeep. Everything. And my fingers were on everything all over the place and rebuilt that thing from the rust all the way up. And there's actually spiritual metaphors and truths that are at work in everything that I experienced. And I'm going to look at 5 of them here in the month of July. So let's get started. Great to have you on The Aggressive Life.
All right, we're going to get to the garage here in a second. But first, how about a chance to win something free for you? That's right. This is Dirt. I'm the producer of The Aggressive Life. I'm normally over there in the corner behind the soundboard. But for the month of July, I'm popping into episodes, and you don't know where I'm going to be. Am I going to be at the beginning, in the middle, at the end? Where am I going to be? I'm popping in to give away free stuff because why not? It's summer. Let's give some stuff away for free. This week, I got a whole stack of 5 Marks of a Man t-shirts. I'm actually wearing this shirt right now. It's got the hash marks on the front. On the very back of the shirt, it's got the marks listed out. This is a great t-shirt. I wear it all the time. I love it. And I want to give one to you. How do you get one? Go to Apple Podcasts, search for The Aggressive Life with Brian Tome, and leave us a rating and a written review. The rating is 1 through 5 stars. Be honest, pick what you think. And a written review could just be like 1 sentence, what you think about the show. These things help immensely, so much, to get the show in front of new listeners, and they really, really matter. Help us out by doing that. Take a screenshot of your rating and review. Email it to me, dirt@briantome.com, dirt@briantome.com, and that will get you in the running for one of these 5 Marks t-shirts. This is going to last 7 days. It's July 1st, people. On July 8th, it's going to shut down, and I'm drawing names for free t-shirts. I'll contact you on email. If you're a winner, I'll get your address. I'll get it shipped out to you. So go to Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and review. Take a screenshot, send it to me, dirt@briantome.com, and you just might get one of these sweet t-shirts in the mail. All right, that's enough from me now. Let's get into the garage with Brian Tome.
Every major project, including the building of your life, requires counting the cost. Hey, my name is Brian. Welcome to my Garage Bible Study. Yeah, I'm in a major project here right now. My 1978 CJ7 is disassembled. It's all over the garage. I've had a dream of rebuilding a Jeep to look exactly the one I had in college for decades, and I'm finally now doing it. And to do it, I've got to count the cost. See all these parts here? All these parts, new, brand new part. This part right here, I think, was $120. You're like, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know I don't even know what it is. Yeah, it goes on the engine, on the outside of the engine. It's called a timing chain. So as the actually goes like, no, it goes like this. So as the crankshaft turns down here, this turns, which turns the camshaft, which gets valves opening and closing right, and pistons, all kind of stuff. This thing right here, like, that's a ridiculous amount of money. That's just one part, boys and girls. That's just one part. That's not talking about the powder coating of my brake caliper support system. That's not talking about the new clutch that I have to buy. This is a pressure plate for a clutch. This is a clutch. Back in the old days, you used to have clutches to be able to shift gears. That's not counting those costs. That's not counting the endless amount of supplies just to clean old parts and paints and on and on. New fuel pump, on it goes. Or let alone, well, before I even tell you this, let me read our Bible verse. This is called Garage Bible Study, not Power Mechanics 101. Actually, this is kind of 401 kind of stuff. So here's what we're going to look at today. The book of Luke, chapter 14. Verse 27, here's what it says. Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Jesus had a life of sacrifice. His mission cost him everything. And he says, if you want to have a life like mine, you have to bear the cost of losing your life for the sake of the mission. And if you're not willing to carry your own cross, just like I'm carrying my own cross, you're not a disciple of mine. You might be in a church, you might have been baptized, you might identify as a Christian, but you're not a disciple. Disciples are those who live lives of sacrifice, live lives of difficulty that we embrace, that we take on to ourselves because we follow a master who lived a life of utter difficulty. At least the last 3 years of his life, if not the first 30, were filled with difficulty. And he tells us, be like me. And it continues, it says this, for which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he's laid a foundation and he's not able to finish, all will see him begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build, but he was not able to finish. Jesus talks about counting the cost. Before we accept Christ, before we call ourselves a believer, before we call ourselves a Christian, we gotta count the cost. Am I ready for it to cost me everything? Before you get into a major project like restoring a Jeep 1978 CJ7, you have to count the cost. Here's what that means for some people. They take a look at how much it costs to buy a vehicle, how much it's going to cost for the body part supplies. Am I going to need a new engine? Can I replace the engine? Can I rebuild the engine? How much is that going to cost? How much for brake parts? How much am I going to recover the seats? On and on and on. You can have a very exhaustive, and many people do, have a very exhaustive spreadsheet mapping out everything it costs. That's really, really tough to foresee exactly what it's going to be. I would have never thought that this thing would have had to be replaced. But I looked at it and there was all kind of play like this on my old one. And now I know, okay, it's got to be replaced. But some people go at it that way. I have a buddy of mine, Mark Duber, who actually helped me find the Jeep. And he said, hey, look, my recommendation is don't keep track of what you're spending. I was like, that was just so foreign to me. Don't keep track of what you're spending. I said, yeah, if you keep track of what you're spending, you're going to really, really freak out about all the money you're spending, and it's going to not be fun. And then every time you've got to order another part, you're going to be over budget that much more, and it's going to freak you out. This is a hobby. This is a pastime, he said. Don't keep track. Now, if I was 30 and had a bunch of kids living at home, I couldn't have done that. I could have maybe done this project with a very detailed budget spreadsheet, and once I hit that number, I'm out of money. I would have to stop the whole project for years until I got enough. But as an empty nester with prime income earning years in my life right now, I said, okay, I'll do that. I haven't kept track of it at all. I guess I could tally it up, and I will at some point, but I haven't kept track of it all. Why? One, because it would freak me out if I really noticed how much I was spending. And two, it doesn't matter how much it costs. I'm freaking doing it. I don't care. I'm not going to put together a Jeep and I got a timing chain that's loose, but I can't afford it to put on. I'm going to do. I am that committed to it. Are you that way in your walk with Christ? I've been that way in my walk with Christ for decades. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do it. There's certain things that you just can't make sense on a spreadsheet. But you have to count the cost and say, do I want to be a disciple of Christ or do I not want to be a disciple of Christ? I'm not married. The Bible says sex is for a man and a woman who are in marriage. Clear, period. The only time sex is affirmed positively in the Bible and specifically spoken is only ever between a man and a woman in marriage. No exceptions. That's it. That's it. The only one that's ever authorized and ever exalted, ever one. So if you're not up for that, then just don't become a Christian. You're not a disciple. You want to get fire insurance and maybe get baptized just in case God will let you into heaven? You can think about that, but no, you're not a disciple unless you count the cost of everything. I'm going to do that. You find this thing called tithing, giving 10% of your income to the work of God. If you're not going to do that, you're not a disciple. Now, you could figure out, do I want to build there? Do I want to start with 3% and then 5%? Figure that out if you want. But if you're not going to do it, you think it's ridiculous, you're not a disciple. And that's what Jesus is telling us right here. He's saying, do you want your own life the way you want it? Or do you want my life the way I want it? And that means you live your life the way I live mine. It doesn't mean you don't have nice things. It doesn't mean that life is always painful and hard, but it does mean you don't not do something just because it's going to be hard. That's called what a disciple is. Jesus didn't want to go to the cross. He was sweating blood. Blood was hitting his brow as he's praying right before he's arrested. But he says to God, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but your will be done, not my will be done. He went and he did what he didn't want to do because he counted the cost and said, whatever it takes, I will fulfill the mission and go forward. This table is very stressful for me in so many ways. You might be able to see some of the markings here, these circles here. These circles are pistons that are on the inside of my engine block. And when you take an engine apart, you have to meticulously put them where they go and mark everything. This is all the stuff at the front of the engine, looking top down, and I had different lifters and rods, all kinds of internal engine components. I have my thing, and as I was doing that, as I was pulling things out of the engine, putting them down, which is not a normal thing for me. I'm not a grease monkey by day. I'm a pastor by day, and I've done some mechanical things, but nothing this intensive before. I just kept thinking to myself, do I know what I'm doing here? What am I doing? I'm being careful. I'm doing it. What am I really up for this task? And I just kept saying, well, just one part at a time, one step at a time. Will it all work when it all goes back together? I don't know, but I know I've counted the cost, and this is what I chose to be in for. And I'm in. I'm all in. When you're walking with Christ, there's going to be things that he asks you to do. You're going to be going, can I do that? I don't know it's going to be that. I don't know how I'm going to get through it. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm going to be obedient to the commitment I made and following through and counting the cost. It's whatever it is. That means loving my neighbor as myself. I'm going to love that person even though I hate their freaking guts. It means I'm going to take the path of Jesus. Count the cost, friends. Maybe it's time for a new counting of the cost. Maybe you gave your life to Christ a while ago, and now it's time to re-up on the project of you becoming a restored human being created in the image of God and operating in the image of God in every part of your life. Count the costs right now and get in. Get in or get out. That's what Jesus is saying. I hope you get in. Well, that's all I got for you today here on My Garage Bible Study. We'll see you next week on, what's it called? My Garage Bible Study. Man Camp is coming. What is Man Camp? It's a 3-day experience, which you may have been waiting for your whole life. You didn't even know it. It's a 3-day experience of camping, of encouragement, of pushing, of receiving, of laughing, of beers, of physical engagement, relational opportunities. It is phenomenal, as is seen by the fact that people from all over the country, all over the world, come to South Ohio every year for this event, and I want you to be there. Your life could be the better for it. It could be the greatest weekend, actually, of your life. You can go to mancamp.us to find out more, and I want to make it easy on you. If you enter podcast 15 on that mancamp.us website, we'll get you 15% off. I want this for you. I don't want anything from you. I want this for you. I want this for your life and anybody else in your life and on your downline, because your life is going to be improved on this weekend. Let's see you then. Thanks for joining us on this journey toward aggressive living. Find more resources, articles, past episodes, and more at briantome.com. My new book, a 60-day devotional called The 5 Marks for Man, 60 Days to a Powerful Life, along with all the other books in the 5 Marks library, are open right now on Amazon. Be sure to leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcast. Then send an email to that's dirt at briantome.com to get a free Aggressive Life sticker. Find more on Instagram at briantome. The Aggressive Life is a production of Crossroads Church, Cincinnati, Ohio.